Hey guys, it's Austin, and before you ask, yes, the Fire Force video is coming out. I don't know when because apparently certain words are bad on YouTube, so yeah, I'm kind of battling that out. Just a little update on that one. But anyway, so I'm going to name the series obviously Cautious Hero. I know it has a really long name, and I do not want to say the long name because I like my air my lungs in. I don't feel like being, Rista right now, but before we actually begin further into the review and the first impressions, I'm going to inform you that it does come out at 10:30-ish Eastern Standard Time on Funimation if you want to, catch up and know the schedule. But that being said, let's get into this. So, in the beginning, we're kind of greeted with, this weird event that's going on with God and goddesses, and we see Rista, the goddess of healing, doing a S-class kind of mission, and I'm just going to say she's fine as wine, and I'm going to be honest, so far, she seems like she's kind of going to carry the series on her back. And I see some people kind of complaining already, the main character's a bit boring, but you guys like, Goblin Slayer. That main character didn't complain, so, yeah. I mean, I'm not expecting much from an isekai. I just enjoy what it is because, sometimes you just gotta enjoy stuff, people. But nonetheless, we see, she wants to become a full-fledged goddess, and she has to kind of keep this persona or, appearance in the public. Then she's, like, hilarious behind doors. The whole, like, craziness goes through, and we see her run home, panic, because she has an S-rank, mission. We hear a little bit about how she's 100 years old. She already has summoned 5 heroes to the surface, and that's not much compared to the average and the high-end people, which, average is 10, max is 100 plus, and she's going to pick a guy from Japan because of the isekai stories they have, and the world's such in a really bad state that, even veteran gods don't want to touch it, and that's just how bad it is. And I love how she breaks the fourth wall a lot, and it's amazing, honestly. And she really gets annoyed and ends up falling out of a chair, and, the right one somehow falls on her face, and she's happy that he's so OP, and she's going to summon him because it's going to make her become a full-fledged goddess, and she's only thinking about herself like a certain some other useless goddess. And we kind of see how she runs and draws a circle to summon the hero that at first I kind of forgot his name because, it kind of went by really fast, and she falls in love with Seiya right away, and she introduces herself, and he goes, "You're freaky." I'm like, "Oh, damn!" You fell in love with him, and he just stomps on your heart, and she almost goes crazy on him for it. And we see him kind of question, "Why can't you go save the world? You're a god or a goddess." And she goes, "There's rules that we have to follow. We can't intervene. Humans can only save humans," kind of thing. And we see that Seiya just tries to get out of it. I'm like, "Yeah, I'd probably do the same." And we see that she tries to comfort him, and basically he just doesn't want to use the status. And he now goes and opens up another theme, properties, if I'm not mistaken, and he starts to believe that what Rista said is true. And Rista begs Seiya to say status so badly, and it's just, you kind of feel bad for her. And as, Trainer X said in my Discord, do we step in and help her? Do we? You kind of get that feeling like, she's trying her best, and he's just not working with it. Then again, I'd probably be that, like, I don't want to do it. And, I love her little freakouts, honestly. It's just 10 out of 10. But, of course, after that, we get to the OP, and I know this is going to be very blasphemy when I say this. I'm not a big fan of Mythenroid, and I didn't really like the song. I like certain ones, just not every song. What did you think of the opening song? Tell me in the comments down below. But anyways, we see that right after Rista, starts to talk to this, unknown person we don't know right away, and she says that this guy doesn't want to do anything. He's overly cautious. She overlooked one thing, that he's overly cautious. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest. If you're going to another world, wouldn't you want to be cautious? I mean, even in Borderlands 3 right now, I want to be the highest rank I can be, so I don't get down that fast, even though that just happens. It just works. But anyways, continue on. Ari tells, good old Rista, hey, it's probably a good thing because it is an S-rank world and a lot of stuff is going on, and it doesn't hurt to be overly prepared because you never know what's going to happen. And I'm going to be honest, so far right now, Ari is my favorite girl. She's my top girl. I call claims on her. Huh? Don't you try. But she kind of seems like the older sister type in this anime, and I hope we get to see her more because I really like her personality. She kind of just comforts Rista and is kind of a counter to her. And yeah, she brings up how, Rista forgot to give certain necessities to good old Seiya, like, a bath, a toilet, food, a bed, the basic stuff a human needs. And she's like, oh yeah, that's true. And I just love how she just rushes over there to go see him. And, when she opens that door, she gets a real good surprise. She sees him working out and gets completely distracted for what she's doing, and he kind of starts to chew her out, but she's like, yep, and she actually brought him food, onigiri, and it was nice, and he, just didn't trust the food, and he goes, maybe you poisoned it, and he's overly cautious, that's the running joke, and I do feel it's going to get annoying later on. So far, it's kind of, not really, it's kind of entertaining, but obviously, he goes, eat the food if it's not poisoned, and she eats it. And she kind of just gets upset about, him not trusting it. And, she leaves him this buzzer now to kind of deal with what's going on. This poor girl waits 4 days and, no buzz. She goes and checks up on him. He's eating. He's not, dead or anything. And 1 week goes by and nothing. And when she's about to lose hope, it buzzes. And she goes running to him. And now he's actually level 15 from training. And she pushes him one last time. Hey, since you're, high level and all this, we can go to the other world. And I love how she kind of just said your training's not going to really do anything if you don't go out and, have actual experience, and which is true. And, he's still overly cautious. And I love how previously he said he wanted to be max level. I'm like, I can't fault him because I'd do the same. But anyways, he agrees to go, and we hear how Ishtar actually picked the location, and they have to head now to the town of Idana. And I love how Ishtar is actually in this, and it has some lore, and I'm probably going to remember god and goddesses' names as we go on with this series. I'm a big fan of lore, if you haven't figured that out with the Machi when I was covering it. But yeah, pretty cool to hear about another goddess. But continue on. They go to, obviously the town, and we see Saya kind of just get really critical on Rista's kind of whole outfit, and causes her to get mad, and she kind of, starts to want to freak out on him, and we see that Saya's where that townsperson that just talked to them is a monster, and she starts to freak out on him because, he's being overly cautious. Then a child shows up, and she completely changes her persona really fast. She's got a, appearance to look out for, and we see that child goes up to Saya and kind of, he's really cold to her, and I love how, she says, I really want to see how this goes. It's kind of entertaining because he's just very cold, a cold person, and just doesn't really trust anyone. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, you're in another world. You're not going to just trust someone right away. And we see that the child's name is Nina, and Nina points them to the shop, and we see that Rista gives Saya money for his equipment, and he wants to get 3 steel sets of armor, and she freaks out and says, no, I am going to get you your armor, and he ends up getting some pretty decent looking armor in my opinion, but I just love how he's being so overly cautious. Why he wanted 3 pairs is 1 for his main set, just in case he loses his set, just in case he loses his extra. I'm like, it kind of makes sense, the whole, it kind of reminded me of like, when people buy manga or light novels in Japan, you hear how they buy 3 of them just in case they lose one. And, I would do the same if I had that kind of money, but nonetheless, you see him buy 50 smoke bombs and healing herbs right after, just to be careful, you never know what's going to happen. And we hear a little bit about the town. It's kind of a town for beginners, which, there's no crazy strong monsters. He doesn't trust her, obviously, and we see that Nina says there's only slimes around, and, he gives her a warning. Well, gives him a warding charm to keep, he basically keeps it. It's interesting to see how he did that. They go out hunting for a monster, and Slime shows up, and he literally overkills it using Atomic Slash and Hellfire, and just completely doing it. And he didn't trust how the sensor said it was weak. And we see a Demon King show up named Chaos, and the Demon Lord knew where the hero would be summoned, so, he wanted to take them out fast as possible, which kind of makes sense now why this world's such a high rank issue. And we see that the actual chaos is 66, and we see Risto wanting to run away, and yeah, Seiya already had that plan, and he ran real fast away, not wanting to deal with this stuff. And I love how this right here kind of is the last thing we see, and Chaos obviously chases after them. So far, I think it's a good anime. I expect certain things to get tiresome. I do expect that Risa is going to carry this series. She kind of reminds me of Aqua, in a sense, and I can't complain too much because it's the first episode. It can go really bad or go really good, and I love how this is actually made by White Fox. The people that made ReZero. I'm not going to put Artifudu in it, but yeah, it's time to be a overly cautious hero. Stuff we probably would do if we got reincarnated in an isekai world, or it's varies to different people. But anyways, what would you do if you were reincarnated? But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I'll catch you later in the next video. This has been Austin, and I am signing out. Peace.